Please listen carefully.
Hey everybody, this is Jace for Marshall Made Collectibles. Today we're going to do an unboxing and review of a new item that came out by CooModel. CooModel has been around for a while. They've done a lot of stuff with like rubber bodies. They did some gladiator figures a few years back. Now they're moving into like, they've got some really cool knight figures. And now they're starting to have these come out. This is the second in a series of monster files. They originally did a Frankenstein, but it was only released in China, and was not impressed with the way it looked. The kind of joke on the community and the 1/6 scale community is that it looked like Homer Simpson, or they call it Homerstein. And even though it's an incredibly rare figure, it's not something I would want in my collection. Now, if they ever redid that and had something that looked kind of like a Bernie Wrightson kind of Frankenstein, I'd be all over it. Like I said, this is the second in the series. It's the Werewolf. They've got another one coming out that's Vampire, which looks freaking incredible. And the whole reason why I got this, I was actually not going to get into another series of something to be interested in, but after the Vampire production photos went out, it just looks stunning. This is a great figure too, and with a couple little mods you almost get two figures for the price of one, and I'm going to show you how to do that too in this video. Anyway, like I was saying, this is Monster File number 2, the Werewolf. The box looks really cool, but you know what you're looking at? You're looking at the outer shipping box. That's actually how it comes. It already has the Werewolf logo right there, that it's Monster File, CooModel.com. You got the little silhouette of the werewolf running. I don't know if you can tell at the very bottom there, he's running in the O of the wolf, like he's running away. It's number MF002. Looking around the box, all you have is just a brown shipping box. Again, on the back you've got the Werewolf logo. This is a true unboxing. It's still taped. So what we're going to do is we're going to crack that open so you guys can take a look, if you decide to get one of these, what you get in the box. So we'll cut our tape. And we'll put that incredibly cool shipping box away. And we are left with a very nice black box. Again, we've got the very striking black with a silver kind of gradient going to darker tones there. Werewolf. We got, again, him running. The logo, Monster File number 2, Werewolf, 1/6 scale, handmade figure. I noticed that they were putting that on a lot. It must be like the resin parts that make the wolf, because you can actually transform the figure from human form to the monster form. I think those are what they're calling handmade. They're probably hand painted or done up, which, for the price point on these, it's kind of surprising, because you'll pay what normally now anywhere from $225 to $250 for a 1/6 scale figure, more if you're going for a Hot Toys or an Interbay. These I've seen them go for as much as $250. This right here I got under 200 bucks. So they're out there. They are cheaper if you pre-order them. I know the Vampire I've seen listed as high as $254 for a pre-order, but I'm getting one for like $218. So if you look around, shop around, you can get good deals. Side of the box just has some of that forest. On the back you have little what do you call them, hologram stickers, or like tamper resistant things. In the back you have all the legalese. And one of the reasons why, when these first came out, I thought they were cool, but I didn't pull the trigger on it at that time. Bottom, it just says Werewolf Monster File Number 2. Top is very similar. They almost have a reminiscent feel of a Gangster Kingdom kind of thing. The sculpts are stylized. So it's kind of cool, kind of different, kind of cartoony. If you're not into that, that would probably turn you off. I like the Gangster Kingdom stuff. In fact, if you look through my videos, I have some that I've done reviews on. I no longer have any in my collection because I was offered a crazy price for them, so I'm not a particular collector that I would keep things. And if somebody, that is really, it's a really thick cardboard box, not a cheap flimsy box. Alright, we open it up. We have a really cool like cover plate, artistic representation of the werewolf, howling, tongue hanging out, teeth, fangs, claws. Looks like he's tearing through some stuff. He got some blood splatters. Again, Monster File Number 2, Werewolf, 1/6 scale handmade figure. Let's see if we remove this. Definitely a nice touch. Oop, stuff is falling. On the back side of that card, you have a nice forest, a little fog scene, a full moon, so you could display that behind your figure, get the full effect. If you got a Deltoff cabinet from IKEA, that would be perfect to set in the back. I've seen people selling inserts for cabinets to display behind your figures for like 50, 60 bucks. And cheap as I think like $30. It's nice that they include something like that. You don't have to buy anything, you don't have to make nothing, you already have a inset display. Set that over there. What immediately fell is we've got the comic book, which is in Japanese. A lot of people are turned off by that, but I'm a huge, for those that know me, I'm a huge Golgo 13 fan. And I started getting those comics when in the early 80s when I was like 12 and 13, and none of the ones that I was getting from Japan were written in English, but I could still follow the story. So with that said, even though it's in Japanese, if you look at the art, you'll be able to follow the story. It also comes with a card, like a most wanted poster of the werewolf in his human form, and you can see he's kind of got that character look. I like it. It's something different. And then directions for the display base. That's one of the things that's really cool with these figures. They go all out on the display bases on these. It's not just some little crap stand. This one's got a forest base with a tree and everything like that. It's really cool. So we open it up, and my God, you get a lot of accessories for this figure. Let's go ahead and start taking pieces out and taking a look at everything. Let's start with I guess the simplest we'll go through is the hands first. Alright, so we've got a gripping hand, and looking at them, they are not just plain rubber, they have some paint washes to them. You got a fist, a gripping hand, an open hand, another fist for your left hand side, gripping hand for the left hand side, and an open hand for the left hand side, plus the hands he's got on. So we end up with basically 4 pairs of hands for the figure. And we also get, like, I believe, an extra mutated wolf hand. We have the chest collar piece for the transformation. Wow. We have his right wolf arm, and there's a joint in there too. That is very cool. huge. I have his leg. And I love that it's not just straight up and down, it's like a dog's leg. Very cool. Claws are done up really well. A lot of great paint apps. You know I'm going to save the head for last. Got the left. That is awesome. Very cool. Crinkle, crinkle, crinkle. Oh, yeah. That is freaking bananas. Let's see if I can get that thing to focus. And even though we're opening this now, like all my reviews, we'll do some HD photos at the end where you can see the figure all put together and everything. Alright, now the main figure. Got some really nice tailored clothes. Looks like he's got a chain or something, like a little leather chain from one belt loop to the other. Let's get this little rubber saran wrap off his face, if I can. Well, might be easier said than done. Got it. Okay, I did. Alright. Yeah, it's very reminiscent of the kind of sculpts that you're seeing on like the Gangster Kingdom kind of stuff. The exaggerated proportions, real thin chin. Really well painted though. I mean, a lot of detail. Did a beautiful job on the eyes. We got like a purple checkered shirt. He's got a nice fleece kind of jacket. Again, the well painted hands. Some black wash jeans. You can see like the little acid wash thing going on. Nicely detailed boots. He's got a pentagram on the back of his jacket. Sin, evil, latent, death, curse, hunting. And you can button it up if you don't want him to go full Tom Jones. Very cool. And that was just the first tray. So let's take a look at what we got on the second. Another piece of thick foam, and we've got more cool stuff. Okay. We've got the Werewolf title. Actually, you know what would make that pop? I mean, I know they just did like the weathering to make it look like the ground and stuff like that, and like rock and stone. To go back over the Werewolf and paint it like in red, something to really make it pop. Hell, silver, anything like that would make it pop. I have a tree branch, and it's got some nice gash marks on it, like his claws had done that. Moss growing. Pretty heavy, actually. Very cool. A little bloody doll. Kind of has that little big planet thing going on. The semi-transformation arm. That is cool. Like if you wanted to have him in his human form, like he's looking up at the moon and the arms stretch out like, "Argh." Very neat. And College of Psychiatrists. His duffel bag. Got little zippers at work. Feels like there's a little piece of foam in there to give it some shape. Got a couple straps on it. Shoulder strap, hand strap. Big working zipper on it. Very neat. This thing wants to fall out anyway. Big base. Got the hole where you put the clear post for his stand. Say on the bottom, CooModel production. I am not even going to try to pronounce that. But it's their design, his design. I am not going to try to butcher that man's name. Very neat. We have the ripped up jeans for when he's the werewolf and the hoodie for his jacket. And a heavy duty figure clip. No crotch stand there. And the acrylic pole for our stand. Well, we got a lot of stuff here. What I've got is I have an extra body, and what I'm going to basically do is I'm going to make another figure. I think what I'm going to do is I've seen people's pictures where this particular shirt he has on, when you transform him into the werewolf, this doesn't come down far enough, so you end up with like some flesh tone, and then this. So I have another shirt. It's like a checkered kind of brownish shirt, but I think it'll work well with the werewolf, and I don't care if I cut it up a little bit. Since the pants are cut up, I can trash the shirt a little bit. But basically what I'll have, by just adding the body and a shirt, that's basically it. So you can get a body for the ones that are coming out of China that are the knockoffs of like the Hot Toys. You can get those for like 14 bucks. The shirt cost me like $6. So for like another $20, basically in my display, I will have a human that's transforming, or a human in his human form, and I'll have a full-fledged werewolf, all for one price, which is pretty damn cool. So if you hang on 1 second, what I'm going to do is I'll be back after we do that, because you don't need to watch me put this all together. I'm sure it's going to be a struggle the first time doing it. And then afterwards, we'll have some HD photos at the end. So hang on, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. So basically what I did is I used a Hot Toys clone that I had laying around to go ahead and make the werewolf. I used a extra shirt I had, and I just frayed the edges because I didn't have the extra purple shirt that he came with, but this is kind of like a black and brown and white checkered pattern, And I had got an extra jacket off of Toy Anxiety, so it gives the semblance of it being the same figure. As of course, you got the torn up jeans that come with it. I also did a little something extra on mine here. If you see around his wrist, I went ahead and tore a little bit of the shirt and made it look like as he transformed, it just tore out. With the Hot Toys clone body, I like it, but I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and get the CooModel body. They have like a narrow shoulder body, and they're like $20. They're not that expensive, and I'll get a couple of those through Time Walker Toys. They're really good about fast shipping, and it's not an expensive shipping for a couple bodies. I might pay like $4 or $5, but I noticed the body on the human, the joints are thicker than like the True Type Hot Toys version, which I think will help it hold poses better. I did tighten up all the joints. In fact, if you pop the joints out, there's little tiny screws. All you need is a small screwdriver and you can tighten them up. So it is holding the poses well, but it's a lot of a load on such a narrow or thin joint, where the CooModel's joints are a lot thicker, so they can take the extra strain of the limbs, because the limbs are massive and they weigh a lot. But with that said, for having him displayed right now until I can get those in, I'm loving this figure. It is awesome. The fact that for the cost of a body and an extra shirt, you can do this right here. I mean, I bought an extra jacket, but you wouldn't even really need the jacket. For what I have here, I mean, you basically get two figures in the box with just a little bit of customization. And like I said, this shirt that he comes with stays open too wide. Just by stitching this up, I got it right where it's perfect. Looks great, plus the frayed sleeves, because this one's not frayed. The shirt is actually in excellent condition. The jeans are in excellent condition. The only thing that you get that's frayed are the pants. But when you look at this all done up and all together, he is just a huge figure. I know it's 1/6 scale, but like if he was standing up, he would at least be like 15-16 inches tall compared to like a normal human figure. Because right now I got him crouched, and granted he is on a stand, but he is still like a 12-inch tall figure crouched. And I mean, his knees are completely bent. I don't have his joints all straight up or anything like that. Plus I've got his waist and everything where he's ab crunched. But just phenomenal. The sculpting, the detail, the paint work, the tailoring is really good too. And I'm surprised. I know it sounds like I'm falling all over the figure, and in a way I am, but if you've seen my reviews, I reviewed the original two Gladiator figures that CooModels had put out, and they were not glowing reviews. I liked the head sculpts on them, and that was about it. I did not like the rubber bodies. I thought their leather work was shoddy, and the paint apps were terrible and sticky. So for me to go from that, where I wouldn't have bought those if they were on sale, thank God those were given to me to do reviews, to where this, I will be buying this line. So that's something that tells you something huge, because I do not buy a lot of things retail. I make a lot of things, or I trade for a lot of things. These I will actively seek. They are too cool. For my human, what I did is I gave him the extra arm that is mid-transformation. I just think it looks cool. No sense having just a regular figure just standing there like ho-hum. Other things, the only other thing I can really nitpick about this is he didn't come with socks, so I threw a pair of socks on him. That's no big deal. And the other thing is these little micro snaps. Now they're not everywhere, but they are on like the closure on the shirt. They're on the cuffs. You notice I don't even have them closed. They're the ones that if you don't line them up just right, they're going to bend. It's not so much a big deal on the Werewolf because if he's wearing it, they're all open anyway. It doesn't matter. But for the human, if you're going to close up the snaps like on the hoodie and everything like that, they're all those little tiny micro snaps, and I can't stand those. I end up using like closing them with tweezers because just my hands are just too big to mess with it. Anyway, my final review of what I think about these, real quick, I'll show you those. That's just that wanted poster. And the comic book. The comic book, I'm surprised how cool it really is for like a little freebie. I think the only other people that have done anything like that is Gangster Kingdom. They started out giving like the trading cards, and I think in a couple of their figures lately what they've done is they have given out like little mini comics to tell the story of the figure. That's really cool. And I think it's going to be something that will be collectible in itself and adds a little extra value to the figures. In fact, I've seen just the comics going on eBay for like $12 for just the book. So that is kind of cool, and on the back it just says Werewolf, the end. Stay tuned. And hopefully they'll do something like that with the Vampire and all the other releases too. Anyway, my final thoughts. If you love monsters, if you're like a universal monster nut and you like old EC, you like the horror genre, you like horror movies, even if you don't collect 1/6 scale figures and you like that kind of stuff, you'd be hard pressed to find something nicer. To me, these are almost like the old McFarlane figures that he used to do, but blown up on a larger scale. They're gorgeous. I mean, there's not been anything else out there like this. And like I said, I know some people are turned off by like the human sculpt, but I like it because it gives a character and it's something different. It doesn't look like a hot toy. It doesn't look like anything else that's out there. So I dig it. Definitely a must-buy if you're into that genre. And I think the rest of the line, if they keep putting out stuff like this, it'll be stellar. Anyway, stay tuned. At the very end of this, I will have some really close HD photos, some micro shots, everything like that, so you can see everything from the base to the actual sculpts up close and personal. And thank you for watching. This is Jace for Marshall Made Collectibles.